Christmas.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Oh, okay. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot, or
1, 2, 3, shoot.
okay.
Okay. You go first.
Well, maybe I wanted you to go first.
You won. You go first. Okay, you win. You get to pick.
Kelly goes first.
You go first. Okay.
Yeah,
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Amy. And
We're normally the Everyday Epic Book Club, tea time, here for an extra winter recommended reads.
y'all have probably, hopefully watched our spooky season, right? So we decided that we wanted to do a winter Christmassy themed one too.
Christmas, merry and bright. Got my t-shirt on. I'm rocking the buffalo print.
Heck yeah. And
Buffalo
I got my
print. What the?
buffalo plaid.
That was some buffalo plaid. How about that?
I mean, some buffalo print would be kind of cute.
I'm not sure what that might look like.
Little buffaloes on a shirt.
Oh, buffaloes. I was thinking, usually it's like prints, like paw prints.
Like the foot
like,
hoof prints.
not sure hoof prints would look as cute as like little doggy paw prints, but okay, sure.
I think it could be cute.
It could be cute.
But
Sure, I don't know.
anyway,
That's not why we're here.
No, we are here to bring you some of our favorite winter reading recommendations. We each have 6, so a total of 12 for the Christmas
Yeah.
12 number.
Yeah. Try to be a little brief.
If y'all have seen
It's
any
Christmas. I shouldn't lie to you.
No, if y'all have seen any of our other book club videos, you know that brief is not in Kelly's vocabulary when
It's
talking
really
about
not.
books.
It's really not.
So,
Or really anything.
yeah.
But I will try because we've got 12 books to get through. Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this first one I'm actually cheating because I know. I have seen the movie, but I have not read the book. So I am going on the assumption that books are always better than movies, and I adored the movie. So I'm assuming I am going to adore the book even more, and that is Winter's Tale by Mark Helprin. You can see it, the light's a little... Not my favorite cover. I really wanted the one that showed it's grayscale, showed the inside of Central Park and the sunlight streaming through. It's a gorgeous cover. That's not the one. I get what you get when you order used books online. That's what it is. Anyway, Winter's Tale takes place in New York, but it is kind of an alternate New York. It's a magical realism kind of story. So you have a few fantastical elements, but it's fairly familiar as New York. I mean, it's obviously called New York. So turn of the century, and it features Peter Lake is kind of the main character. And so anyway, in the movie, Peter is, and it's really sad because he immigrated when he was an infant with his parents, and because I think of some kind of illness or something, his parents were turned away at Ellis Island, and so basically they gave their baby to somebody so he could stay in America. So he's separated from his parents. His adoptive parents or whatever basically kicked him out as soon as he was old enough to take care of himself, and so he's kind of had that rough beginning, fell in with the wrong crowd, joined gangs, blah, blah, blah. When we meet Peter, at least in the movie, when we meet Peter, he is getting ready to rob the Penn house. And the Penns are a family very wealthy, like the Rockefeller kind of wealthy. And so he's in there. He owes some people some money. He's going to do one last score and then get out of the game. And so he goes into the Penn house to rob it and finds out that it's not as empty as he thought it was. While the most part of the family is away at their vacation home, the daughter is home, Beverly. And Beverly is home because she has consumption, and she cannot be in warm places, or she can't breathe, or she'll get a fever, and basically she'll die faster. So she actually has a room on the roof of the house, and this is in the wintertime, of course, where she can be cool enough that she can breathe, her lungs can work, and so anyway, she didn't go, and so pretty much instead of screaming and raising a huge ruckus, Beverly invites Peter in and makes him tea, and they talk. And so this starts this romance between the two. And of course there's, sidelines of the gang that Peter ran with, and they're coming back, and it's Beverly's health, and there's a magic horse that can fly, and yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of symbolism in that as well, but it's not quite as buried as the book we just read. That was a little harder to understand. You pretty much get what's going on in this. The movie very much just relates to their romance, and there's this beautiful scene where they go out to dinner together, and oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. But anyway, the book, apparently for the book, that is just the first part of the book. And then there's a whole other bit, and I am just really looking forward to this, reading it. But again, I'm cheating. I'm recommending it because the movie was beautiful. Just beautiful. Watching the movie gave you such a sense of winter, that, and kind of the magicalness of winter, the beauty of it. I know I'm cheating, but I did flip through. I had not read another book by Mark Hilprin either, that I was just flipping through, looking at different passages, and I found, you can see I've already marked one, different passages that like, oh man, that hits. That hits hard. I get that. I feel that very much. So I really think I'm going to enjoy this quite a bit. So there's my first cheat, but
maybe you're right.
Winter's Tale. Did you know that All the Light We Cannot See is on a lot of lists of recommended winter reads?
It is, yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Look at us, because it's the war and that people associate cold weather with war.
Well, the whole time he was in Russia,
cold.
It was cold. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, sideline.
Anyway. Yeah, go check out
Neither one of us picked that one.
Go check out our live stream of our book discussion for All the Light We Cannot See if you haven't already.
Yeah.
So it's supposedly another great winter rec. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's whatever.
Nah.
No.
These are better.
So, okay, for my first choice, I'm going with my only actual Christmas related reading recommendation, which has also been turned into a movie. And it's one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. This is Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. And the movie that is based on this book is Christmas with the Cranks with Tim Allen. So this book is teeny tiny. Mm-hmm. But it is an amazing read. It's so much fun. It's lighthearted. It's comical. It's pretty much, if you haven't seen Christmas with the Cranks, what happens is there's this one family who decides, their daughter's grown up and out of the house, and she's going to be overseas for Christmas. And you know what? Every year they spend thousands of dollars on Christmas. What would happen if they just skipped it one year? So they decide that's what they're going to do. Their daughter's gone, and they're like, we're going to skip Christmas. We're not going to participate in anything. And holy cow, you would think that they had just
their whole neighborhood just is ready to crucify them.
Yes,
because they're so involved.
They're so involved, and it's pretty much like an HOA type situation.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a big deal, and the lengths that they go to try and avoid anything Christmas is so hilarious. And then the lengths that their neighbors go to try to get them to participate in Christmas. It's just it is beautiful. This book is pretty much almost word for word the movie. So, I mean, if you've already seen the movie, you've read the book, pretty much. But I enjoyed it, even though I knew exactly what was coming and what was going to happen. I absolutely loved every minute of this book. I was laughing out loud, throughout the whole thing, pretty much. I had a smile on my face. It is so freaking good. And then the ending is super heartwarming and all of that Christmassy gooey goodness that you just love and want to see. So yeah, I don't know. This had to be on my list for winter reads because it's just it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, highly recommend Christmas with the Cranks too as a movie.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen are so funny.
Oh, they're so good.
So funny.
It's so funny. Yeah. So shout out to Uncle Gail and Aunt Marissa if you're watching, because y'all are the reason that I watched that movie in the first place. So
that would be like Marissa not doing Christmas. or anything.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Oh gosh.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine a world where that would happen.
No.
No. If y'all know my Aunt Marissa, like, there, no.
Yeah.
No.
Imagine her not.
She goes above and beyond for everything and does everything, like, perfectly, and she's just an amazing person.
And we hate her. No, we don't. We love her.
We love her so much. I just don't understand how she does it all. But that's the thing.
Because she doesn't sleep. She can
There's
not
no way.
sleep.
There is no way.
Mm-hmm.
I
No.
don't believe it for a second.
No.
But
That we love her.
We do.
We love her cooking.
Very much so.
Very much.
But anyway, yeah, tangent. But
Mhm.
this is my first rec. Skip
Yep.
Christmas.
All right, so my second one is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. It was also a movie. However, this time around I've read the book but haven't seen the movie, so I do not know.
The movie is good. I
Okay.
have seen the movie. I've read the book and seen the movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like both of them are very strong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to go wrong with either one.
So what I have heard, the movie is not as intense with some of the more disturbing aspects of the book.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I would agree with
So, if you don't know, The Lovely Bones is about a young girl, Susie Salmon, who
that. It's a
was
fun name.
raped, murdered, and dismembered
Not
by basically her neighbor. And so,
like a bee-taking situation.
yeah. So this is told by Susie after she died. And Susie is basically, you think it would be boring because Susie doesn't do a lot. But Susie's reporting to you everything that she's seeing. She's seeing her killer go through his life. She's watching her family try and deal with their grief. She's like, her dad is trying, she's like separating from the family and trying to find her killer. She has a sister that kind of goes off the deep end. She's got a brother who's trying to hold everybody together. And then it's also Susie in her heaven. Doesn't really call it heaven. It's never identified as heaven. It could be anything. But that's what she calls the place where she is. And it's very much like Earth. Like an alternate kind of Earth that is basically only Susie's. And because Susie herself, even though she's dead, is still working through letting go and being able to move on. So the reason that I think it is a good winter read is, to me, it's just cold. You know, obviously murder. It's not really a thriller. It's much more.
No, it's like.
It's not really about finding her killer.
Well,
although
it is,
it's included.
It is because the
but that's
sister,
not the point of the story.
No.
It's really just a study about grief and letting go and moving on for everybody involved. But there was one scene, and I don't even think it was at Christmas time, but it might have been. Susie standing outside her parents' home, looking in through a window at her dad, and just being so sad because he was crying or something, and you know, she was being so concerned for him. And to me, that scene felt so cold.
Yeah.
You know, and when she's in her heaven, and there's a passage there about her mentor, Fanny, I think was her name, or Fran, something like that. Basically telling her, you know, the only way you can move on to what comes after is to let go. You can't worry about what goes on, and she's so worried still about her family. She doesn't really care about her killer. She's not like a ghost out for revenge or anything like that, but she's just so worried about her family. And that
they
just,
don't know what happened to her.
yeah.
She just
no idea. She
disappeared.
disappears. So anyway, of course, the murder or the crime aspect is pretty chilling. The fact that she's dead. So ghost stories, little winter ghost story, but I honestly don't know what time of year this is set. I was murdered on December 6th, 1973.
Oh, so look at that. It's winter.
So it does feel wintry for a reason. But But honestly, I didn't remember that. I remember just feeling very cold for many reasons while I was reading this book. So that's why I think for a little bit darker. But it is not all sad. I will say that. I mean, the end doesn't really wrap up things in a bow, but it's satisfying. It's a satisfying end, and it doesn't leave you hopeless and sad. And so I like it. It's beautiful.
It's
very, very beautiful book.
She wants to talk about a crime story. I'm going to talk about a crime story.
A real crime
This
story.
is, yeah.
True crime.
In Cold Blood. I might drop it. By Truman Capote.
True crime.
True crime story set in Kansas. Where in Kansas? I don't remember what the place is called.
It's out west somewhere.
Holcomb, Kansas.
Yeah, it's out west.
I remember driving past it. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite books that I've ever read. It's like on my 5-star read shelf. It does an absolutely amazing job of going through the whole true crime aspect of it. A good chunk of the story, actually I think almost all of it, is told from the point of view of the killers. So the backstory is these two guys are out looking to rob people pretty much, and they got a tip from someone in prison that this farmer and his family had a lot of money, and they had it hidden in this safe. And so they break into the farmhouse. Turns out that the family is home, or they come home while they are inside the house, I think. And so one of them decides to react by killing the family. And then they run off, and the police are trying to hunt them down. And this whole thing is very jarring on the town of Holcomb, because Holcomb is a very small town. Everyone knows everybody else. Everyone leaves their doors unlocked. They had nothing like this ever happen before, where someone was murdered, and it was just something that they're not used to. So everyone was freaking out and trying to figure out who could have committed these murders. It just didn't make any sense to anyone, and it was really interesting to see the story told from the point of view of the murderers on the run, and them being hunted down by the police, and then also seeing the town react in the way that they did, and I don't know, the whole aspect of it. And it does talk a little bit, go into some detail of how the family was murdered, so that also adds a chilling, cold aspect to it as well. And you can kind of with it being told from the point of view of the murderers, they don't have a whole lot of regret for what they did.
No remorse.
No. It was kind of just well, they're pissed that they didn't find the stuff that they broke into the house for, all of the money and all of this that they were there for. They're just mad about that, and now they have to try and go on the run. And it's just them being so cold makes it a chilling tale about it, because it was literally a family. We're talking about kids, a family. It's just, I don't know, it's insane, and the fact that this is a true story, true crime thing also adds to it, and it's done so freaking well. It's a great read. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite true crime stories, one of my favorite books of all time, like I said, and so yeah, I had to include it in this list.
I've never read it.
You need to.
I know, I need to.
Because it's so freaking good. I will recommend this book until the day that I die. So good. I haven't read his other book. He has another one that's a backstory or a follow-up to this, I think. I haven't read that one yet, but...
Well, I need to read it, because it's a shame being a Kansas girl and not having read In Cold Blood. That's just criminal.
Yeah.
We're into movies here too, apparently, because my next one is Cold Mountain by Charles Frazier, or Frazier, however you want to say it. I don't know for sure. Either way, Cold Mountain. Also, an exceptionally good movie, but the book is gorgeous. So Cold Mountain.
You've read this book.
I have read this book, yes. So Cold Mountain is a Civil War story, and it kind of starts with this Society Belle who moves to a small mountain town with her father, and her trying to, integrate into this town, and she meets this guy. You know what? I don't even remember their names. How sad is that? It's been way too long. Oh, Inman. Inman is the man. I remember that name, and I love that name. Especially because, okay, so Nicole Kidman plays Ada. Ada in Inman. But Nicole Kidman plays Ada, and she puts on a southern accent, and every time she says Inman, I love it. Anyway, Ada and Inman meet and fall in love, and basically right before the Civil War hits, and Inman joins the Southern Army, the Confederate Army. And so a lot of the book is really following them separately. They write letters, but I really don't think that they actually get each other's letters. I don't know if they get lost. I want to say in part, but like her dad steals her letters or something like that. Anyway, yeah. Or maybe they are getting letters, and then with the way the war is going, Inman can't answer, or they're not getting mail through. I don't know. But anyway, it goes along with that. And then, of course, the big, I'm not going to spoil it, but man, the end. Holy crap. So it's a mountain town, but I mean, it's not necessarily all set during the winter, because this covers a good portion of time. But it's cold in a way that it's sad, it's war, it's these two people who, I don't want to say it was love at first sight, but, you know, definitely they connected, very much so, and so they're separated. And the things that go on, I mean, the things that Inman goes through, and even the things that Ada goes through, it's kind of just chilling. The way that there were Confederate soldiers who, for some reason, couldn't serve in, like, as a soldier on the line, but they were, like, in charge of, or at least maybe they weren't, maybe they took it upon themselves to basically, like, run this town, and they were, like, creepy as hell. Yeah, so that was really kind of cold, but there are just really wintertime scenes. The Christmas scene, so sad, and it's cold, and it's out in the snow, and it's just such a sad scene. And the end, they're up in the mountains, and so it's cold and snowy, and yeah. So anyway, very good. Again, this is not really an action story. This is much more character, following these two characters as they navigate the war, but it's so beautiful, and I love it. And I also love the movie because, well, like I said, you know, Nicole Kidman doing a southern accent, and Jude Law. Who doesn't love Jude Law? I mean, really?
That was a good.
Oh, okay. I thought you were disagreeing with me. I'm like, I'm
gonna
bonk you if you're disagreeing with me.
The Holiday? Come on.
Jude Law, right? Ugh. So Jude Law and Nicole Kidman and Renee Zellweger. Her character, oh my god.
That's a good cast.
Yeah, her character, you will love her character. She is just wacky, and she's a mountain woman and a mountain girl. And watching her, this hick mountain girl, hillbilly, with Nicole Kidman, Ada, who is a city Southern belle. But just the way the war hit, anyway, it's chilling and good winter read if you want some cold.
My third pick is probably my most obvious book pick for this video. Also, very popular movie series. And
movies,
that is...
more movies.
Yeah, more movies. There's
more
a
movies.
theme here, you know? Harry Potter. If you happen to live under a rock and you've never heard of Harry Potter, the Boy Who Lived, this story is a story about a young boy named Harry Potter who finds out that he is a wizard, and he gets to go to the wizarding school of Hogwarts, and it follows him and his friends Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley as they try and navigate through life at the Hogwarts school, becoming wizards, and also trying to save the entire wizarding community from this evil wizard Voldemort, who pretty much wants to just take over the entire world, the wizarding world. And it's action-packed. It's got some comedy in it. It has friends, like, heartwarming friend moments. Like, it's just, the whole series is so good. A lot of it does take place in the winter, so there'll be scenes with them at Christmas because it follows, like, their entire school year, so it kind of runs through all of the seasons, really, but the Christmas scenes are some of the best, especially in the movie. The Christmas feast and Dumbledore, oh, it's beautiful. And I want to live at Hogwarts at Christmas because it just seems like the perfect place to be. Like, move aside Disney World, Hogwarts is where I want to be. But
no, I have never seen any of the movies, and I've only read 3 of the books.
And this was the moment that the Everyday Epic Book Club dissolved.
We can't be friends.
We can no longer be friends because Harry Potter is one of my all-time favorite series.
And I'm the fantasy reader.
Yeah.
Who knew?
So, Harry Potter, absolutely amazing. Highly recommend every single one of these books. And another thing is, too, like, for me, I think the reason why I love these is that there's just so much nostalgia with them. Like, these are made for, like, a younger audience. They're not adult books. Like, were written for kids. I read this when I was a kid. And so, being able to, like, go through all the adventures with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, just, like, oh, it brings me back. I love it so much.
Well, nostalgia's so Christmassy.
It is.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, like, it's, I don't know. Like I said, one of my favorite series. Every year on Harry's birthday, I go and I watch all of the movies. Like, all of them. All 8 marathon on that day. It's like a 27-hour marathon or something like that.
Wow. That's commitment.
It is. I love it. I do it every year. But yeah. The books are just as good as the movie. In fact, I honestly would say that the books are better than the movies because there's stuff in here that...
They always are.
Not always.
Well, that's true.
Not
but
always.
most of the time.
Yeah. But
most of the time.
I definitely think that reading the books will help you understand some parts in the movies. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in the Harry Potter movies where it kind of, like, it jumps a lot. And in the book, it kind of explains, like, why. Like, gives you just more backstory. Yeah. And I enjoyed that a lot. Like, I really appreciated that in the books. So, yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much me rambling on and on about how much I love this book. And my third choice.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that agree with you.
Probably.
Okay. So my next one. This is definitely, I don't have to explain why this would be a winter read. And that is The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivey? I don't know. I'll let you just see it and you can see what it is. Okay, so this is based on the fairy tale The Snow Child, where an elderly couple, they can't have children and they really want children badly. So in the wintertime, they go out and they make a snowman or snow girl in the snow, and magically this girl comes to life and becomes their daughter. And I think in the fairy tale, if I remember right, spring happens and the daughter disappears. Anyway, because fairy tales can be rotten sometimes. But in this book, it is the same. So it's a little bit fantasy. There's an older couple. It's in Alaska. I want to say before turn of the century, so like late 1800s, I think. They do. They're childless. They want a child, and so they make a snowman. But in the book, it's just like they're trying to cheer each other up, and they just go have some silly fun and go make a snowman, and it comes to life. And
it's like Jack Frost.
Yeah. And so comes to life. They take her in, comes her daughter. And so the story follows this girl growing up, and I mean, obviously she's a little on the strangest side. It also follows their neighbors, and I can't think of the boy's name. Oh, if I put my glasses on earlier, I would see Alaska, 1920. So not the 1880s. Okay. Jack and Mabel are the childless couple. The little girl, Faina, and... Oh, it doesn't say the guy's name. I can't remember his name, but there's a neighboring family And so kind of the boy from this neighboring family and the girl, as they grow up, are friends and do a lot of things together and, of course, kind of fall in love. But it kind of follows the boy as he goes out and does homesteading Alaska stuff, and it also follows, the girl and how she, deals. And, of course, she's a little on the oddish side. So different things like how in the summertime she doesn't thrive very well when everyone else is. And then the wintertime, which is especially killing and brutal in 1920s Alaska, which is good for her. And so it follows them as they grow up and have a romance and kind of how that all turns out. So I don't think I have to explain to you why that's one's a winter read, but very good. This one actually was a Pulitzer Prize finalist. So there you go.
So Kelly actually liked a hyped book.
I did. Although I will say I didn't know it was a hyped book when I bought it. I just knew the fairy tale, and I was like, Snow Child Comes to Life. Sounds like my kind of book. So there you go. But it's good. It has a little more action to it. I think just by necessity, showing life in 1920s Alaska has a little more action to it while you follow these people and how they survive and how they deal. And then, they still have time and energy to miss having children,
Okay, my next pick is, again, one that I think is a fairly obvious pick. Maybe, I don't know. If you read classics, you'll know for sure. And that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So, this story is about a guy named Heathcliff, and him pining over this girl named Catherine, and how pretty much he's in love with her, and she's in love with him, but it's like a very toxic kind of a love, and so they don't ever actually end up being together, but they both want to be together. It's just like a whole angsty gothic romance type of a book, and a lot of it takes place in the winter. There's a lot of them trudging through the snow to go and see one another and visit each other at their big mansions or whatever, and
Well, he's adopted by the family, right, when they're younger?
Oh, that's
right. And then that's why they're not
right.
supposed to be together, because he's not good enough for Kathy.
Yes.
And then he goes off and makes his way and comes back, and he's not a nice person.
Oh, no. He's super, super mean, but he has, he became, this rich, someone that she could then be with, her family would be okay with that, but he's very mean, and so then she doesn't want to be with him anymore because he's no longer the nice, sweet little boy that she used to know.
Okay.
He's pretty much just hates everyone and the world. And
very cynical.
Very cynical, very cynical. And so she decides that she's going to go off and marry someone else and try and live happily ever after, and he doesn't like that one bit, and it's just there's a lot of turmoil.
Angst.
So much angst. His pride and ego get in the way. I think it's a great winter read because, again, like I said, a lot of it does take place in the winter. There's a lot of snow, and then all of that whole, pining and angst and, wishing that they could be together, but hating the world and hating her, and, guys.
Well, Gothic romances just always are cold.
Yeah.
They always just feel cold.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been going kind of in order of my favorites. And this one is one of my big-time favorites. And could be somewhat classified as a YA book. It has been mentioned.
I'm listening.
And I could see it. So, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. Stunning little cover, though.
It's fantastical looking.
Mm-hmm.
Gives me, Witcher vibes.
So, it is a fantasy book inspired by Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's all you had to tell me.
I won't say it's based on it. It was definitely inspired by Rumpelstiltskin. So, one of the kind of elements I never quite got, but didn't really care, was if it was true fantasy, like in a separate world, or if it was more of a magical realism in fantasy in our world setting. And I never quite got for sure that I remember. It's been a while since I read it. But Miriam and her family are Jewish. But it seems like the actual world they live in is not our world. So I'm not sure. Anyway, the blending in that did not bother me at all. I had no trouble with that. But anyway, Miriam and her family, they are Jewish, and they are money changers. So lenders, banks. They're bankers. Miriam's mother comes from a very powerful family of moneylenders, and basically against her family's wishes married her father, who was also a moneylender, but not quite as up to their standards. And so in doing so, sort of got disowned. Not really, but sort of. They don't really have a whole lot to do. Like, her mother travels once a year to visit her family in the city, and otherwise they don't. But her father's not a very good moneylender, so he, gives money to people, and then they never pay him back. And then he doesn't do anything about it. And so there's a lot of kind of anti-Semitism, the reason that these people don't pay him back. And so it kind of gets to the point where they're very poor, and her mother is very ill. And so Miriam takes it upon herself to go out and do her dad's job. And she's really good at it because she is mean. She's like, you will pay me back. In the middle, there's kind of a side story with another family, and have a little tragedy in their family, and it's not pretty. It's a bad family situation, and this girl comes to work for them in their house because Miriam needs help. And she also kind of teaches this other girl how to go collecting for her as well. So she really turns into kind of a partner in all of this. But anyway, she's very successful at it, and so she takes what the villagers give her in repayment, and she sends it to her grandfather in the city to invest for her, to turn things around. And she actually does very well. They have some money, and she's on a trip into town, and she is going along in the wagon. This guy she hired, I don't know, but there is these kind of otherworldly people called, I'm going to forget what that is either, called the Starik. And they kind of represent, I think, the fairyland element, elves. Anyway, they're very cold. The land they live in is freezing ice world, and they're cruel. And they come in the wintertime when the ice road connects their two worlds, and they come, and more than anything, they want gold, because that kind of powers their magic and powers their world. And so anyway, as Miriam is going along into town, she boasts about how she can turn anything into gold, because she gets all of these things, and with her grandfather investing for her, her return is in gold. And she's overheard by one of the Stark people, and so basically they come along and they kidnap her and take her in, and this is the Rumpelstiltskin aspect. They put her and want her to turn their silver into gold. And so it's kind of this story about Miriam doing all this and trying to get out of things, and how she kind of comes to form a friendship and a relationship with the ruler of the Stark people. And of course there's also this kind of more epic sort of battle that goes on, and there's something out there that is threatening the Stark's land, and that's why they need more and more gold so they can kind of power their defenses. And it's really, really good. So if you want something a little more action-packed, there is some romance involved. The ending is particularly cool. And then, just found family. and friendship, and again dealing with kind of an anti-Semitic themes and overcoming that, and yeah, it's just kind of one of my favorites.
Okay.
Okay.
My next book is quite the haunting book here.
It is.
It's chonky.
Chonky.
Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Another classic. Honestly, it would be wrong for me to not choose this book for a winter read because one of the characters has an amazing name. You know, like Amy. Hello, it's a great name. But
there you go.
yeah. So pretty much the book just follows these 4 sisters and pretty much how they just try to survive getting through life, living through, I think, the Civil War is when this book takes place, and pretty much it's them growing up in the time of the war and also trying to deal with romances and getting married and all of that, and also taking care of their families and their mother. And it's a really heartwarming story. Like, I don't know, I very much enjoyed reading it, just to being able to see like the love that they have for one another. It's so strong. Like, these sisters are so bonded to one another, and the family is so important to them. And that was one thing that I really, really enjoyed, and I think is what made this book be such a good read for me, because family is also very important to me as well. Like, my brother and I get the sibling bond thing. Like, I get it. Like, I do anything for that kid, he do anything for me. That's how all of the sisters were in this book as well. So I really enjoyed seeing that and how much they loved and looked out for one another. And yeah, and I know that there's definitely some scenes in here that take place at Christmas time. I think the opening scene, in fact, takes place at Christmas. So it's a great read, and again, I feel like classics are best read in the winter. I don't know why that is, but all classics to me just feel like winter reads, aside from like Frankenstein, or like The Picture of Dorian Gray. Like, I would say those are like Halloween spooky season reads, but most classics I would say are winter reads, and this one being the chunk of a book that it is, sitting in front of a nice warm fireplace.
When you can't be outside and doing stuff,
I mean,
you're stuck inside.
Yeah, might as well.
Pick up a book.
And I mean, this book is just gorgeous. I don't remember where I got it. Barnes & Noble, I think, maybe, but
I don't remember my copy of Little Women being that chunky.
No. I don't remember it being that chunky either.
Now I'm wondering if my mother bought me an abridged version or something.
The one I read must have been abridged, because I did not read this one. I have another one that is probably only about this big.
I mean, it was taller and wider than that, my copy, but...
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe I have missed some things.
Right.
But, I don't know. There's also a movie that just came out here a couple of years ago, last year, something like that, that got amazing reviews. So, if you don't want to sit and read the book, I guess you can watch the movie.
Oh, there's umpteen million. The version with Elizabeth Taylor as Beth, I think. She plays Beth. That's a good version. The one that just came out. I was also watching Elliot Brooks.
The booktuber?
Yeah, the booktuber. And she was talking about, there's, I guess, a series of, I think, or maybe it was Books of Love. It was one of them. Anyway, I guess there is a series of books where, and it's all by different authors, but it's the same kind of theme, taking the classics and making them from a, like, minority point of view. And so for Little Women, I wish I could remember the name of it. If I can remember, I'll have Amy do a little dingy here so you can see it somewhere. But anyway, it is they're African American sisters, family, and I guess there was, I can't remember. There was a place, they were freed slaves. And there was a place called Freedom Island, Freedom something. Anyway, it was a free black colony in, I don't know, somewhere mid-south. And anyway, I guess it's about 4 sisters. It's Little Women, but just retold from the experience of these 4 black sisters who had been freed slaves and were now in this free colony and trying to navigate those kind of issues, not those kind of issues, what's that mean? Navigating the issues of, freed black people. And even to where, in this place where they're supposedly the white people there are supposed to be, supportive and stuff, that kind of microaggression kind of thing that happens and that you just sometimes don't even recognize as it. But anyway, from that experience, so I thought that looked really good, actually.
So yeah, Little Women.
Okay, so my last one's my current all-time favorite winter read, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It's gorgeous. This is the first in a series, and I have not read the whole series yet. I have only read this first one. But if you want a read that will just make you feel winter.
Make you feel cold.
Cold.
I shivered reading this
book. So, this book, what was her name?
Vasya.
Vasya.
Vasya, something?
He's Vasya.
It's a strange Russian.
Yeah, they're Russian.
Name?
They're Russian.
It's based on
sure.
Russian.
Well, it's Vasil.
She has 2 different names.
Vasilisa.
Vasilisa or Vasya.
But I think they call her Valya. Or am I thinking Valya was a different?
I swore it was
Vasya. Vasya. Anyway, okay, so and we're talking going way back Russia. This is like when Genghis Khan actually still ruled most of it, and Moscow was like this little backwater of a town. So that far back. Vasya and her family lived way out in the sticks, Siberia area, I believe, and in a place where Christianity had not really reached yet. They still believed in a lot of the old gods and the spirits, like the house spirits and the wood spirits, and I can't remember. Well, I can't ever pronounce the name of that little house, the little fireplace dude. But, and some of them are good, like the house spirits, you keep them happy and they keep you a good home. And then there's the spirits of the woods that you know what to stay away from because they will eat you. And so, that's what they did. And they believed in these, and so they would make their offerings and the belief, and that made everybody happy. It was a nice little ecosystem that everybody was working on. So, when Vasya is young, her mother dies. And in childbirth.
So when she's born.
Is it when Vasya's born? I thought Vasya knew her mother. No. Okay,
because the whole reason was like her mom was like, she knew that if she had her, she was going to die.
Oh,
and
right.
So she's just like, no, I know this child has the powers of my family.
Right,
and
because
so
her mom was like, not, I don't think call her a witch, but she had powers.
Had magical powers.
So yeah, that's right. So anyway, Vasya is growing up in her home. She has one older sister and a bunch of older brothers. And then, of course, her father. And then something happens that, like, something happens that makes her father go get a new wife because Vasya needs a mother.
Yeah,
something happens.
He's like a leader or something of the village that they live in. And so...
He's a baron or something like that. Yeah.
And so, he went off on some trip or whatever and then comes back with a new wife.
But there was a reason for that. Vasya did something that made him say, she needs a mom. Anyway, for whatever reason, he goes off to Moscow and brings back a wife. A Christian wife.
Very devout.
Very devout Christian wife. And who is basically going nuts because she can see all of these house spirits and such, and she thinks they're all evil demons, and she's terrified of them, and she's going crazy. So she begs her husband to bring a priest, and he does. And that's kind of when the trouble starts, because this is a very devout priest and he is a very talented iconographer and all of this stuff. And so this ecosystem that they had going starts to break down. And because the people are starting to follow Christianity, whether they want to or whether they're bullied into it, which both happen, the belief and the offerings to the house and the forest and the land spirits all stop, and or at least slow down. And so there's a breakdown of the magic, and come to find out the reason that was so important and so needed was it was kind of there to hold back or keep imprisoned a big bad dude, big bad magic. So that all starts to break down, and Vasya, who of course can see, she has her mother's powers, and she can see she's of course very different. And so a lot of this is her growing up and trying to hold on to who she is, trying to get people to understand that there's a problem, trying to get the priest to not be so nasty, trying to, placate her stepmother. And as part of what she does, she goes into the woods in the winter, and what was it's basically a Jack Frost figure, but I can't remember what they call him. But she meets him, and there's a story that goes on how to win his favor, basically, that's told like a fairy tale to the kids. And so that's what she does. And the descriptions of her being out into the... Yeah, you will shiver. You'll need a blanket while you're reading this. So it's how Vasya finds out what's going on, and then she tries very hard to turn things around and go through that. And, a lot of times with a first book, they're not real great at building the world because they just let it go slow, I guess. There's a couple different series that I've started that my biggest complaint is the world building. That is not the case with this. This is so well fleshed out. I mean, the society and the country, and you've got, because her sister gets married and moves to town, and that's a whole deal too, and a really cool deal. So there's, there's life in the city, and then there's still the lifestyle of the people out in the sticks, out in Siberia, and then there's the whole kind of culture of the spirits who Vasya can talk to, and all of that is so well fleshed out. There are still things that were left hanging because it is going to contribute. Like one of her brother's storylines doesn't get wrapped up at all. But yeah, and at the end, there's another scene out in the cold that you feel it. She writes Winter so well, and it is really one of my favorite books, and I can't believe I haven't read the others yet, but this one for sure. I mean, you could honestly read this as a standalone.
Oh, yeah.
Easily, if you wanted to, which is why I haven't been, busting my chops to get to the next ones, but really good. You will feel the cold on that one. For sure. Faux show. We're on the last one.
We're on the last book.
Last one.
And it's going to be my book, which is also part of a series. This is the first one. It's Cinder by Marissa Myers. The entire series is called The Lunar Chronicles. Okay, y'all. If you have not read these books, you need to read them immediately. Kelly, I'm looking at you because I know you haven't read these books.
I haven't read them.
And so, this is for sure one of my favorite series. And I'm not, this is way above Mortal Instruments. Way above.
Uh-huh.
This is, almost above Harry Potter.
Hey,
the entire series is a retelling of different classic fairy tales. So, Cinder, obviously, is Cinderella. The second book is Scarlet, which is Little Red Riding Hood, and then we have a Rapunzel, and then we have this Snow White, I think, pretty much. And then they also have, some other books mixed in there that are, novellas and backstory. Yeah, those kind of thing. But the main 4 books, it follows this girl named Cinder who is half human, half machine, so she's a cyborg, and she is living in this world where cyborgs are kind of like looked down on in society, and she lives with her human family, completely human family, who it's her stepmother, and she has stepsisters, just like with Cinderella, and it pretty much she's trying to like get out from under their control, and then she has to start and lead this rebellion against an evil queen from a different planet. So there's like some of the like space alien kind of things. Like there's other planets and things like that. It's a very futuristic and like kind of post-apocalyptic type of a world where if she doesn't take down this evil queen, then war is going to ensue, and it's going to wipe out her entire planet because the queen wants to take over and pretty much kill everybody and all that stuff. And she actually I can't say that because that's a spoiler, but there
We're trying.
We're trying. But there's like, she ends up meeting the prince of the world that she, like the planet she lives on, and there's kind of like a little love romance going on with them, and then along the way, while she's trying to like take down the evil queen, she meets these other girls. There's a lot of like girl power in this book. Like, the girls kind of be leading the revolution, and I love it. I'm here for it. I don't know. I freaking love these books so much. They're so well done. I love the romances. I think that they are, like, they're cute romances. There is a lot of angst with some of them, especially with Cinder and the prince. And then Thorn comes in, and he's like the best character ever. He's my favorite in all of the series, and he's kind of like a Han Solo of the whole thing. Like, he's a bit of a player, but he's like real funny and sweet, and I just freaking love him so much. I don't know. This series is absolutely amazing, and yeah, I don't know. One of the books is literally named Winter, so that's another reason why I picked it as a winter read, because it is literally titled Winter.
Literally.
Literally. Wait, I don't know if
there they are.
Right there? Winter.
There they are.
But, yeah, I don't know. Amazing, amazing series. I flew through these. Like, some of them are bigger books. I think the other ones are actually bigger than this one. Cress is probably, like, it's big. I flew through these. I think I've read the entire series in under 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
Which is shocking for me, because it literally takes me an entire month to read a book like books. So
we're obviously not picking the right books.
No, but yeah, absolutely amazing. Lunar Chronicles.
There it is.
There it is. Our 12 books of winter.
Well, did we plan 12 Days of Christmas?
I literally said that at the beginning of the video.
Did you really?
Yes.
I wasn't paying attention.
Kelly doesn't listen to me.
I didn't hear you say. Did you really?
Yes. I literally was like, we have our 12 book picks, which is perfect for our 12 for winter.
Well, I was just like 12 Days of Christmas. I just
yeah.
I was thinking about the order of my books and how I was going to present them, and I wasn't listening to her talk.
It's fine. No one listens to me talk. It's fine.
Love you.
Love you too, sissy. Okay. We're done. We need to be done.
List yours off.
Oh, list mine off.
Just list them off real quick.
We got Little Women, Wuthering Heights, Harry Potter, In Cold Blood, Skipping Christmas, and The Lunar Chronicles.
There you go. And I've got The Lovely Bones, Winter's Tale, Bear and the Nightingale, so Spinning Silver, The Snow Child, and Cold Mountain. So there you go.
Grab a blanket, find a fire, and start your reading. Because we got some good ones for you. Hopefully, maybe you'll like them. I don't know.
There's a wide variety here. There's something for everybody.
Yeah. And if you have a winter reading rec that we didn't mention, let us know down in the comments, because we're always on the hunt for new books.
Always.
So, okay, I think that's going to do it for this video. So, before we start yelling at each other and getting into actual cat fights and things like that, we will see you in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed and are having a wonderful Christmas season. Bye.
Bye.